Hey, everybody, welcome to our prophecy update. And I'm telling you, we're going to be working through some things, but indeed, things are far, far worse than we are being told. I don't care what media we're looking at. Things are not looking good. Praise God that if you know Jesus, we know where all of this is going to go. But right now, I'm telling you, things are not looking good. So I'm saying fasten your seatbelt because we are in for a ride. But before we go there, I just want to give a ray of hope out there. This comes from In-N-Out Burger. Check this out. This is Lindsay Snyder, who after her folks were killed in a plane accident many years ago, she was on the air to take over In-N-Out Burgers, and she's done an amazing job. And look at this. In-N-Out owner refuses to remove Bible verses despite backlash. In-N-Out has always had Bible verses on their product, the bottom of their fries, their cups. To me, that is so cool. And she's like, I don't really care what you do. And by the way, not all things in California are bad. In-N-Out is still headquartered here in California. I think they're moving to Tennessee, but I'm not sure what the latest is on that. But nevertheless, Bible verses thankful that she's not bowing to the pressures of all those who hate the word. They want to cast the cords of the word from us. All right, this is what we're going to do because I'm telling you, things are bad. They really, really are. They are not good. What we're going to work through is something that's called the fifth column. Some of you are familiar with it, but what is the fifth column? Listen, we need to know because we're living in we are experiencing the fifth column right now in the entire Western world, not just here in the U.S., but Europe. You can really see it there, but you're seeing it here. So America better wake up because this is happening. Think of this. Bertrand Russell said in 1950, power like vanity is insatiable. Nothing short of omnipotence, being all-powerful, could satisfy it completely. It is indeed by far the strongest motive in the lives of important men or men that think they are important. So we look at the different things that are happening in the world right now. There are massive movements of power. There are narcissists that are working everywhere. Ultimately, everything is going to the goal that Lucifer himself set. We read about actually in Isaiah chapter 14, where Lucifer says, I will be like the Most High God. But working through all of these narcissistic men that are here on this planet, they want to be the all-powerful ones, and they're feeling their power. And as Bertrand Russell said, it's insatiable. This is lust. They can't let it go. And whatever it takes, they will destroy lives. They will destroy nations. We see it happening now. Unbelievable. They want anyone but God. These people hate God. They believe if there's a God, they are God. Ben Franklin said, there's scarce a king in 100 who would not, if he could, follow the example of Pharaoh, give first all the people's money, then all their lands, and then make them and their children servants forever. Listen, I look at that and think of that quote and think of where we are. If you are a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, you are not of this world. But these people who don't know God, this is their world, especially the ones who are behind the scenes. We're going to take a look at some of the things that are going on behind the scenes, especially the ones who are calling the shots. They act like they are God. They think they are God, and they want everybody else to serve them. And they are building their kingdom now. Think of this. If you know Jesus, this is the closest you are ever getting to hell. For those who don't know Jesus, this is the closest they are ever getting to heaven. So they're building their heaven the way they want it, with them in control. And they're all fighting for their power. All right, so let's interject into everything that's happening right now. This conversation on the fifth column. So work through this with me. During the Spanish Civil War, fought from 1936 to 1939, the rebel General Emilio Mola bragged, he boasted that Madrid would soon fall because he had 4 columns of rebel troops approaching the city from the outside. And as they arrived from the outside, another column of rebel sympathizers that were on the inside would rise up inside the city. The fifth column, he said, would assure victory. All right, so we can see it. The four columns from the outside, but it's the ones on the inside. The rebel sympathizers. In other words, they sympathize with the enemy. So you think about what's going on in Europe. There are people on the inside that sympathize with the enemy. Here in America, there's people on the inside that sympathize with the enemy, rebel sympathizers within. They have almost destroyed much of Europe, especially the UK and France, and the fifth column currently is seen everywhere here in America right now as it's making itself known, and much of it is because of a collusion that came from the Marxists within American government positions, teachers, university professors, but those in government that want to make sure that the borders were blown open. So what do? You got Marxists at the top in politics. You blow open the borders. You bring in people across your borders. You pay them with tax dollars, basically. You say, hey, we'll give you health care, we'll give you food, we'll give you a place to live. You will come work for us. And they become the fifth column. There's a reason the borders have been blown open. There's a reason why they have to shut down. And there's a reason why wicked, evil, SOB criminals need to be removed from this country and shipped back home to where they came from. Okay, think on this. Philip of Macedon, Alexander the Great, the father of Alexander the Great, is the first Western leader to publicly tout his fifth column from within. You got the sympathizers of the enemy. So when they're attacked from the outside, the inside's going to be destroyed. And it was Sun Tzu in The Art of War in the 5th century who taught of employing the fifth column. Hence, the fifth column has been around a long time. It became a popular phrase, particularly during the Cold War. Dictionary.com defines the fifth column as a group of people who act traitorously and subversively out of a secret sympathy with an enemy of their country. We're seeing it here now in America, and where this is leading is looking exceptionally bad. I saw another church today that had protesters run into the church, start protesting everywhere, bringing up all the different names of people that they want to bring up, interrupting the church. What's going on? Where do these people come from? They are paid. But think through this with me. Not only are children being turned against their parents, but all that is called good is called evil. All that is evil is being called good. So let's work through this. The first thing I want to see in this, how this works out with the fifth column, we can actually look at what's going on with Iran. Okay, before we even go there, I'm going to show you an article, but before we go there, the people in Iran are being slaughtered. Isn't this strange that you don't hear anything about the slaughter of the Iranian people, and yet Israel was accused of committing genocide in Gaza, which they did not, but Iranian people have just been slaughtered, just absolutely slaughtered. Why is that happening? Because the same people who were employed as the fifth column here on the inside in America, in politics and teachers, on media, everywhere, the same people who are part of the fifth column here in America that say how bad Israel is are the same people who are looking to destroy America, and suddenly they can't say anything about what's going on in Iran because, quite frankly, they really don't care about people. They're out for the destruction of all that is good. Okay, now I'm going to show you how this works out. So we go to Iran, right? Check out this first article. Iranian official threatens strike to the heart of Tel Aviv in case the U.S. attacks the regime. So you look at this and you go, okay, we've been hearing this for a long time. Anybody who's been following Prophecy News, Iran has all started this. It was Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who was president in Iran many years ago. He used to say that stuff all the time. Anything happens to us, we're taking out Tel Aviv. So Israel they're always under a threat, right? That's how it is. But the threat goes beyond Israel. Go back to the borders being open, you bring in the fifth column. Guess what the threat is here in the U.S.? That all of those Iranian operatives that came across the borders during the Biden administration. All of those Iranian operatives and Hamas-trained people, Hezbollah-trained terrorists that came across the border into America have become part of the fifth column. So not only do we see what's happening in Minnesota and all over the country right now, these so-called organic protests, which they are not, so-called peaceful protests, which they are not, but not only that, also part of the fifth column is Iranian terrorists and the trained terrorists. And the threat is all of these thousands upon thousands and thousands of terrorists that are here in the country. The reports are anywhere from 30,000 to 100,000. If the U.S. launches this war against Iran, they're going to unleash that fifth column. That part of the fifth column here in America, I'm telling you, is a planned destruction of the West. Europe, we already see it. We'll work through that a little bit more in a few more minutes, but we are seeing what is taking place. Interesting. You go after Iran, Iran threatens Israel, but they also, through the fifth column, threaten America. Everything I read about what's going to happen in the Western world is not if, it is not even when, but it is that it will happen the moment the U.S. does anything. Okay, let's work through this. And I'm going to use Psalm 2 just as a backdrop because it all starts to come together, especially, folks, with what I'm going to show you over the next few minutes. In Psalm 2, you guys know it, many of you know it. Let's read it. Verse 1, why do the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing, a conspiracy? What is it that the people are doing? And the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together. So you have a picture in Psalm 2 of the time when the people are led by people in power, the kings and the rulers together. They're led by the people in power. What for? Against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bonds in pieces and cast away their cords from us. Why are we having these invasions into churches who are teaching the truth? What if you did that in a mosque? You know what? You'd be in jail. Whether you're in the U.S. or you're over the U.K. It would be destruction for you. And they yet will plan inside a mosque your destruction. That's what they do under the guise of their freedom of religion. Here in America and in Europe, you have invasions into churches saying by people and others at the top, Don Lemon and the rest of them, saying, let us break their bonds in pieces. There, who thought God's? The Lord and his anointed. There, it's plural. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Let us break their bonds in pieces, cast away their cords from us. Get rid of this. It's not a coincidence. These things are happening. What's happening right now is demonic. It is spiritual. All these different things that we are watching. I'm going to come back to the rest of this psalm because as it concludes, we start to have hope. And so we'll get back to that in a few more minutes. Okay, I'm going to show you some videos. So this first one is Marco Rubio. Watch what he says. Pay attention. I'll be back with another one in a few more minutes too, with something else. Watch this.
Ultimately, all radical Islamic movements in the world identify the West writ large, but the United States in particular, as the greatest evil on the earth. And every chance to have the notion that somehow radical Islam would be comfortable with simply controlling some province in Iraq or Syria is just not borne out by history. Radical Islam has shown that their desire is not simply to occupy one part of the world and be happy with their own little caliphate. They want to expand. It's revolutionary in its nature. It seeks to expand and control more territories and more people. And radical Islam has designs openly on the West, on the United States, on Europe. We've seen that progress there as well. And they are prepared to conduct acts of terrorism. In the case of Iran, nation-state actions, assassinations, murders, you name it.
All right, so there you go. You got it, right? That's a fact. You look at these things, you go, what in the world is going on? And many pastors here, it seems like most pastors here in America, won't even address these things. They won't even go to the Bible. They won't call out any of the evil that they are watching. No, we just can't even go down that path. It's absolutely terrible. All right, watch what's happening in Iran. I'm going to show you this video. In fact, we'll show you this. Let's roll this. Watch this. This is Horrifying. There's horrifying footage from Iran. You can see people, these are bodies, folks, these are bodies in the streets, body bags in Iran. Look at this. Look at this. Where the heck is Tucker Carlson now? Where's Candace Stinkin' Owens now? Nowhere. Won't talk about these things. This is absolutely wicked. This is, listen, and this is what Marco Rubio is warning about. Iran is the #1 state sponsor of terrorism worldwide. You have Qatar's involved in it, Iran's involved in it, and the West is too stupid and says, oh, bad Israel, oh, bad Israel, oh, bad Israel. This is insane. People lost their mind. In Romans chapter 1, Paul warns of a people when they come to their end, God says, I will give them over to a reprobated mind, meaning a mind that cannot make a decision that is good for them. They hate whoever it is so much that they will bring destruction upon themselves. That's what's happening. You hate Israel, you hate the Jews so much, you're willing to destroy yourself, but you're too blind and too stupid and too ignorant to be able to see it. And Peter even writes, for this they willfully are ignorant. 2 Peter chapter 3. They don't want to believe it. They choose to just live by hate. And look at that in Iran. Way more people have now been killed in Iran. Way more than were killed way more civilians were killed than all of the people killed in Gaza, including the massive amount of terrorists that were killed in Gaza. Notice that. Where the heck are all these Jew haters now? Anyways, let's move over to Europe. Check this one out. Right, think through this. The real goal of Islam, the real goals of Islam are not primarily religious, they are political. On the June 3 of 2016 edition, Hal Lindsey report, Hal said, Islam is not intent on converting us so much as it is intent on ruling us. Dr. Peter Hammond, he's a South African missionary, served in Mozambique, Angola, and Sudan, so he knows what happens under the hand of Islam. By necessity, he became an expert on the subject, and he's highly critical. The official government website of Sudan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs includes a statement that Hammond should expect to be bombed when he comes to Sudan. He's an expert on Islam. He should expect to be shot on sight. That's the official ministry in Sudan of Foreign Affairs, because he's calling the truth. In his book, Slavery, Terrorism, and Islam, Hammond wrote, the primary aim of Islam is not spiritual but political, and the ultimate goal of Islam is not to convert the world, but to establish Sharia law over the entire world. To establish Sharia law. Let that one sink in. A famous Islamic scholar and imam named Abu Allah Maududi, he confirms it. He said, Islam wishes to destroy all states and governments anywhere on the face of the earth which are opposed to the ideology and program of Islam, regardless of the country or the nation which rules it. The purpose of Islam is to set up a state on the basis of its own ideology and program. Dr. Hammond wrote about how the process of Islamization has historically worked. He wrote, at 1% of any given country, they, the Muslims, will be regarded as a peace-loving minority and not as a threat to anyone. At 2 and 3%, they begin to proselytize from other ethnic minorities and disaffected groups with major recruiting from jails and among street gangs. Let that sink in. You start recruiting from the disenchanted people, the people who are complaining about government, the people who don't, whatever it is, just the people who are out there who aren't working, who aren't really doing anything, who aren't involved in the betterment of society and the world. Those people. And the people who just get out of jail. How many people just get out of jail? How many people did Venezuela send over here that were out of jail? Right? So you look at this. You recruit those people. So you start thinking the fifth column, and you look at everything we see happening now, the threats of terrorism on the inside, and you read something like this. From 5% on, they exercise an inordinate influence in proportion to their percentage of the population. They will work to get the ruling government to allow them to rule themselves under Sharia at 5% of the population. All right, now how is it that they're suddenly working with, like you see them from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. The LGBT community says we support Hamas terrorists. They actually think it's a good idea. Taqiyya, right? They're able to, if you're Muslim, you can lie to bring your better good. You can lie to them, say, well, we just want to all get along, Mamdani. We just want to all get along with you, and then we'll kill you when we get to the top, when we get our power, right? Useful idiots. But they recruit from these disenchanted groups, these different communities. Wow. Gets worse. When Muslims reach 10% of the population, they will increase lawlessness. What do we see now? As a means of complaint about their conditions. Our conditions are so bad. Can't believe the way that you're treating us. Let's go destroy everything. Any non-Muslim action that offends Islam will result in uprisings and threats. After reaching 20%, expect hair trigger rioting, jihad militia formation, sporadic killings, and church and synagogue burning. Hello, right? At 40%, you'll find widespread massacres, chronic terror attacks, and ongoing militia warfare. Wow. When Muslims comprise 60% of the population, Islam rules from a position of absolute authority with no dissent allowed, as next you can expect state-run ethnic cleansing and genocide. This is the Sharia law. And these idiots that are out there that think it's really good to wear a hijab and submit to this stuff. This is your world. And America better wake up. In places all over Africa, Muslims have openly declared war on Christians, slaughtering them. And the bloodbath there is horrifying. We don't want to hear about here in America. All right. And many people, all right, you see all these things happening, then you see what's happening in Minneapolis and all of these other, I'm reading it all over the place. Go, wait, this stuff ain't organic. All these uprisings from the inside, the fifth column, with protesting against ICE and stuff. Listen, so ICE goes to arrest rapists and murderers and really wicked SOBs. Stop. We want the child predator rapists to be here. You let them out of prison, out of jail like you're doing in Minnesota. I mean, no, not everybody in Minnesota is bad, just like everybody in California isn't bad. But we both have wicked governments there and here. Let them out of jail. Let them out of jail. Don't tell ICE we got these child rapists here. We want them to be free. And the idiots go and support that stuff. Where's this stuff coming from? It's not organic. Follow the money trail. Joe Rogan, watch this. Less than a minute. Watch this video.
There's a lot of people that don't understand what's going on and why riots only in Minneapolis and why riots in the place where there's an ungodly amount of fraud that has been discovered.
Coincidentally, right around the same time.
Exactly. Like instantaneously afterwards, the narrative completely changes. Everybody forgets about the fraud. Now all anybody cares about is ICE and fascists and Nazis.
Yeah.
And it's there's a, you know what a color revolution is?
Of course.
And for people that don't, it's a coordinated effort to cause chaos. And this is a very coordinated thing. The idea that this is an organic protest, these riots are organic, is nonsense. It's provably nonsense because now they have access to the Signal chats, so they know that these.
Yeah, the color revolution. It's totally nonsense. This stuff is organic. Totally nonsense. Okay, watch this. Another Joe Rogan clip. This is also short. So what happened? Hillary Clinton used to say, "Kick all of the criminals out." Kick all of these illegal people out. Hillary Clinton, that's right. She's on tape. Watch this. She said it. What's really going on here? Helps you to see. It's a fifth column on the inside, intent with blown open borders, intent to destroy the Western world. Watch this.
I know it's on YouTube, but it's this amazing campaign speech. Where, you got it? Is it 2008? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Here it is. Listen to this.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they
Cheers. Cheers from the Democrats.
If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
You're gonna learn English, everybody's cheering.
Yeah, they love it. They love it. And now
Now you're a Nazi.
Trump's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Trump's a Nazi.
That is more right-wing than Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Wow, more right-wing than Marjorie Taylor Greene. You have to learn English. I mean, look at this. You don't hear that stuff. You're hearing exactly the opposite. And there's so much more to this. We know there's Muslim money. You know you have George Soros money. You know all of these different things are also funded. I watched videos just a little while ago, earlier this morning after I finished church today. Just a little while ago, I watched videos of, and I'll do it this week for the news portion that we do every day, Today in Prophecy, watching the signs being made, the signs being handed out, everybody gathering, picking up their signs. You go march over here. I watched one video staging how the people are going to set for cameras, just like they staged the stuff in Gaza. Staged the whole thing. The starving people in Gaza when they weren't starving. Guess what happened in Gaza? 0 people starved to death. What? What? Yeah, 0 people. Take that, Greta Thunberg. You won't, because you're also a liar like the rest of them. Unbelievable. So check this out. It's not just the money from the Soroses and these radical left-wing Marxists here in America and Qatar and Iran money and all that kind of stuff. Iran money, by the way, came from the U.S., went to Iran, and now comes back here in the way of fifth column. Also Chinese money. Bill O'Reilly says follow the Chinese money. And not just your tax dollars. A lot of our tax dollars go into this, a lot of them. But O'Reilly says, he points out, listen, this is not chaos like the ICE protests that just came out of thin air and driven by some organic community outrage. O'Reilly said, now here's the most important thing in this, it's unreported. There's a man in Shanghai, China, an American citizen. His name is Neville Roy Singham. He works with the Beijing government. He is funneling millions of dollars into the U.S., United States of America, through 501s like Party for Socialism and Liberation, Democratic Socialists of America, who, what's her name? AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She says she's Democratic Socialists of America. That's what these people are. Minnesota Immigration Rights Action Committee, millions. He's funneling money here to these radical organizations who are then agitating professional people, communists mostly, because Singham's a communist, to go in and foster rebellion. This is about the destruction of the West. You heard that story reported. That's absolutely true. The man has been investigated by the FBI in the past, the Singham character. This isn't some organic thing that we see happening. This is a foreign power, Beijing, using this American citizen who lives openly in Shanghai in luxury, knowing that this man is funneling tens of millions, probably more, into this country to try to destroy the government. What the deuce is that, says O'Reilly. Where are you, New York Times? That's the second part of the story. Why isn't the press reporting any of this? There's a local federal story and there's the international story. And I've had it. You don't like what I'm saying? Blank you, says O'Reilly, because I'm telling you the truth. O'Reilly's talking about a foreign adversary using an American citizen as a financial pipeline to destabilize America. Friends, that is what is happening right now. It was Yuri Bezmenov. I've showed this video many times at conferences. Soviet defector back in 1982. In an interview, he said there's 4 things the communists do to destroy a nation. First, they demoralize it. You bring in all the perverted things. That's been done. Then you destabilize it. O'Reilly says that's exactly what's happening right now. You can look back at George Floyd, BLM, Antifa, all that stuff been going on. You destabilize it, all the crazy voting things, dead people voting, we know how that works. Right, so all these different dynamics, you destabilize what we're witnessing right now. And then after you destabilize and everybody's going to kill each other, then you create a crisis. A crisis so big that the people say somebody's got to save us. And along comes big brother, and says, got you, because now you're mine. You're my servant. Think of this. Let's go back all the way back to the beginning. And that's Ben Franklin, right? There's scarce a king in 100 who would not, if he could, follow the example of Pharaoh. Get all the people's money and then their lands, destroy them all, and then make them and their children servants forever. That is what they are attempting to do. All right, let's go on from here. Ready? There's more to this. There's more to it. Tom Homan, border czar, says justice is coming. Justice is coming. Zero Hedge said Thursday, the far-left groups accused of funding and organizing attacks on immigration and customs enforcement will be held responsible. About the organization and funding of the attacks on ICE, I'm not going to answer a lot about that because I'm not going to show our hand, but they will all be held accountable. Justice is coming, Homan said at a Minneapolis press conference. Wow. A lot more to say on this, but as you work through it, Tom Homan was also the border guy for Obama, for Biden, for Bush. He's been around a long time. He ain't new to the game. Funny how he was never a Nazi until he's with Trump, the current administration. That's another story. My friend Joe sent me this. He said, under Obama, who the press secretary nicknamed, get this, deporter-in-chief, right? Who the press nicknamed, not press secretary, the press nicknamed deporter-in-chief, there were over 4 million total deported, including both removed, already here removed through legal means and returned, voluntarily left, or those turned back at the border. Over 4 million, no riots, no doxing, even though ICE was involved in 59 total shootings back under Obama in 26 states, resulting in 24 injured and 23 deaths. The difference? No manufactured professional outrage. This stuff you're watching is not organic. Don't you think it is? These SOBs are wicked, wicked people. As Psalm 2 began, the people plot a conspiracy. And the kings and the rulers, the people who are leading, they plot a conspiracy. Let's overthrow God. Remember, Jesus said, lawlessness will abound. Satan, Lucifer, Isaiah 14, I will ascend, I will be like the Most High. I will be like God. He's going to destroy everything that is good and everything that is right. Watch this video. Check this out. An attack on ICE. Tell me this isn't an attack. Will the mainstream media report on things like this? Of course not. Watch this.
Look familiar?
Turn off the car. Get out of the car!
Jesus.
Get out of the car!
At what point? At what point do you just...
Get out of the car!
You gotta wait until you get hit.
Shots fired!
Wow. I mean, look at that. You're going, this is what is happening? People are so full of lies. All right. I'm going to show you a video. This is Greg Gutfeld. He's going to go off and he's going to bring the truth. Whether or not you like Greg Gutfeld or not, I don't care. He's on Fox News. I'm not a fan of Fox News. Haven't been a fan of them for a long time. Not a fan of CNN. Not a fan of a lot of news. But he goes off and he brings truth. They don't know what to do. Watch this.
Everything you mentioned are the consequences of the... Oh, you can go ahead and scoff. How did we get here? Pull back. How did we get here? An open border that let millions in, and you guys didn't give two
Alex
F's
Creddy
about... Okay.
snuck right through that border.
All right. We had dozens of deaths where you didn't say Jocelyn Nungary, Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, Molly Tibbetts. I I'm going to just do it because this is just, I can't believe that we're still talking about this stuff. Here's 3 pages of women who have been murdered by illegal aliens in the last like 7 or 8 years. The 7 or 8 years that we have been here talking about this and mocked over it. When we showed the embassy, showed the border being overrun and people laughed at us. And now you're here. It's like you're the maid trying to clean up a mess and somebody there is staring at you going, oh, you got to clean it up better. No, you made the mess. This is the Democrat Party's mess that we are trying to clean up. And you're saying, wow, these ICE agents are using terrible language. We don't care. I'm bored by this. I'm absolutely bored by this. I'm bored by the Nazi stuff. I'm bored by the concerned people in the media. They were not concerned when innocent women were raped and murdered. They didn't care about the 50 who died when they were incarcerated under Obama. They didn't care about the 27 or 30 that were shot under Obama. But now they care now. You deserve no attention on this. You deserve no credibility on this. It's actually comical because here's my feeling. It seems like you're ready for another one. You had good, that went for a couple of weeks. You had this guy, went for a week or so. You're going to need a third one. This is what this is about, because this is what creates the motivation for this drama. This drama that could have been prevented if you guys just listened to the sensible people. Why is it that the cities that aren't sanctuary aren't having any violence? Why is it that the rate of violence in what's the name of the city? Minneapolis is 5 to 7 times higher than cities that are 3 or 4 times larger? Why is that? You guys are always feigning this performative ignorance since you don't understand things. You never explain your own ignorance. Why is there so much violence in Minneapolis and not in Texas?
I love that. You know, they're bringing the facts. And as he said, you never explain your own ignorance. I can explain it. The Bible says, for this they are willfully ignorant. They choose to ignore the truth. They don't want to see it. Daniel chapter 12. The wicked will see it and they won't understand. The wise will see it and they will understand. Those who read the Bible go, ho, 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 I get it. The wicked, they don't want to understand. Jesus himself said they're blinded. They can't see it because they didn't want to know the truth. They don't want to. This is their world. But you look at this. Unbelievable. All right. Remember that attack that happened at a Jewish synagogue? Guy rammed his car into the synagogue last week? Got a very short video for you. Watch this.
Everybody back! Is anyone hurt?
Hey, is parking here free?
Are you kidding me?
What?
You just drove to the... Everybody back! Is anyone hurt?
Hey, is parking here free?
I mean, I look at that. I don't know. I'm guessing that might be AI, his reaction. It's just too calm. You know, you can park here, you got to pay for parking here. But it's just crazy when you see this, and you see this guy at 770 as he kept ramming the car into the Jewish into the synagogue. Wanted to kill Jews. What the heck is going on? It's evil, it's demonic. The devil knows he has but little time. And you want to know what? It's far, far worse than this. There's so many other things. But people have got to wake up. The devil hates Israel, he hates the Jews, and a whole bunch of morons here in the West who don't know their Bible, who think they do, refuse to acknowledge what the Bible actually says about what God's plan for Israel, God's plan for the Jews, and the violence that's coming to them, the violence that's coming to everybody who doesn't go along with this system. Jesus is coming back, and he's coming back to Jerusalem. But what else? What about the Jews? So you see all of the other attacks. Are they paid? It's the 5th column, even here, against Israel. It's how the devil works. Look at this. This next article, Jewish Insider, anti-Israel group organizing protests outside New York City synagogues gets cash windfall. Guess what? You can read the whole thing. Guess where the cash windfall is coming from? The same Chinese guy that Bill O'Reilly was talking about, and this article even includes Code Pink amongst others. It's this whole 5th column attack. Good news is Jesus is coming back. And according to him, he's going to rule and reign from Jerusalem. And guess who's still going to be here? The Jews are still going to be here. And anyone who knows Christ actually knows him. What else does the Bible say? The Bible says a lot. In Psalm 2, where we began the conspiracy against the Lord, let us cast this from us. Let us cast away their bonds, break this in pieces. Psalm 2 goes on and says, he who sits in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall hold them in derision. Then he shall speak to them in his wrath and distress them in his deep displeasure. Yet I have set my king on my holy hill of Zion. He's talking about Jesus, the Son, coming back and ruling from Zion. That's right. Guess who created the word Zion? God did. And guess what he called Zion? There, Jerusalem, that mountain right there. And guess what? Jesus coming back to Zion. God created that word for his people Israel. All these anti-Zionists. I will declare, God says, the decree. The Lord has said to me, you are my son. Today I've begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance and the ends of the earth for your possession, and you shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. God, Jesus, come back. He's going to judge the wickedness of this world. Now, therefore, be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. How many wicked judges do we have? Serve the Lord with fear. Rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, S-O-N, lest he be angry and you perish in the way. In other words, get right with God. When his wrath is kindled but a little, blessed are all those who put their trust in him. Psalm 2. Wow. Praise the Lord. Listen, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be here all week long, do our news updates each day. Billy Crone's going to be my guest on Tuesday. Got a great week lined up for you guys. God bless you guys. By the way, I have an Israel trip coming up in October with Brandon Holthouse and Olivier Melnick. There it is. You can see it. Discover Israel, past, present, and promise. It's not just an Israel tour, folks. It is a conference. We have 3 nights of conference along with worship. Chaim Mailspin's going to be one of the speakers at the conference at night. We're going to be touring all day. If you want to sign up, you can go with me on my tour, or Olivia and his, or Brandon on his, but just go to the events page, hopefortimes.com. You'll get all of the information there. And at night, we all gather together. Incredible time, incredible conference, more speakers from Israel joining us, and worship from Israel. It's going to be incredible. God bless you guys. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem and Iran. God bless you. See you tomorrow.